Hey everyone, welcome back. Or if this is your first time, thanks for stopping in. Today's a good one. We're making 3 small batch meads. First one's going to be apple cinnamon, the next is pear, and the last one is blueberry. Each has their own flavor and their own story. These are the 1 gallon glass jars we'll be fermenting our mead in. They're equipped with a floating top hat airlock. They'll allow carbon dioxide to escape while keeping oxygen out and away from the bottle so none of our contents start to, get gross. All of our fruit in today's video comes from local farm stands, specifically Lyman Orchards. We have a pound of Honeycrisp apple, they are large, a pound of Red Delicious, a pound and a half of pears, and a pound and a half of fresh blueberries. Our honey, not as local, but I can't really get manuka honey from New Zealand in Connecticut. So, absolutely love the manuka honey, all of its medicinal benefits, antimicrobial properties, anti-inflammatory properties. I mean, they literally use it as medicine over there. It's crazy stuff. You should look into it. And then we have Nate's Raw and Pure Honey. Fantastic brand. So we'll start here preparing the apple cinnamon mead. It's actually the first mead flavor I ever made a couple years ago, and it was an absolute hit. Every sip just reminds me of Yule. Warmth, kinship, and that feeling of just coming home. There's something about apples and honey together that just feel like the hearth itself. I think about how the hearth was sacred in the old Norse way. It was the heart of the home, the place for offerings and family gatherings. Now I'm mixing the apples with the honey, letting them meld together before adding the water. You can already smell it. That sweetness. It just feels like winter. It reminds me of this time. The end of fall, the turning of the leaves, the cold season's coming. I'll be adding the cinnamon sticks in about 40 days or so now, but not yet. The cinnamon can mess with the fermentation if it's too early, and I want the spice to enhance the flavor, not dominate it. For now, we'll set this one aside and move on to the next one. Next up is the pear mead. I've never tried this flavor of mead before. This one's a bit sentimental for me too. Pears were always around when I was a kid. Not the fancy ones, just those little Dole fruit cups you could always count on finding in the pantry. So this batch is kind of a nod at that simple comfort, something familiar and dependable. This time I'm using clover honey. It's lighter, smoother, and it blends perfectly with the pear. Once these are mixed and the water's added, it'll be good to go. Pears teach patience. They ripen in their own time, and so does mead. Kind of like how the Norns weave fate. Everything unfolds the way it's meant to. All we can do is tend to the work and trust the process. So we'll finish mixing this up, set this to the side, and move on to the blueberry. I do want to start off by saying, if you're ever handling food that other people are going to be eating or consuming in any way, definitely thoroughly wash your hands before doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Without further ado, the blueberry mead. This was actually the third batch of mead I ever made. The first one I ended up sharing with my friends. I figured if they hated it, I'd know brewing wasn't for me. But it was the opposite. Everybody loved it. One friend's wife actually said she'd buy a whole case from me if I made it for her. Said it was the best blueberry wine she'd ever had. That one made my day. So this batch is for friendship. Sweet, strong, and something to share. The blueberries get lightly muddled so the yeast doesn't have to work as hard breaking them down. Then we add the 2 pounds of clover honey, water, mix it all up, and it's ready for the yeast. Don't they just look pretty? Today we're using Fleischmann's dry yeast. I know it's not wine yeast, and that's usually what everybody uses, but I've had extremely good luck with this stuff. It's easy to find and it's cheap. Today I'm measuring out about 3 grams of yeast per batch. It's a little much for 1 gallon. Typically you'd use about a gram of yeast per gallon. But it kicks off the fermentation a little bit quicker. A little bit stronger yield as well, I found, in a shorter period of time. My goal is to have these ready for the Yuletide, starting on the solstice on the 21st of December. It's about 60 days from now, so it kind of just gives me enough time to let these ferment, settle, get ready to share, bottle them up, make them look pretty. To me, brewing mead isn't just a hobby, it's a small act of creation. You're taking the gifts of the land, the bees, the seasons, and turning them into something meant to be shared. In the old Norse ways, mead was sacred, a drink for the gods, kin, and celebration. So every batch I make feels like an offering. A way to say thank you to the land, the season, and the people in my life. The apple cinnamons for family and the warmth of the home, the pears for the memory and patience, and the blueberries for friendship. Here's to Yule, to the hearth, and to the bonds that make it all matter. Cheers, my friends. Until next time.